how you been these days and everything?
How have I been? How have I been?
Jillian, you would think being a mother now would have softened her up. She would come on to back onto the show after being gone for a couple of seasons, kind of like a little softer, a little bit more sympathetic. It's exactly the opposite. She's the toughest I've ever seen her.
I've been exhausted.
Motherhood has made her meaner, if you can imagine that. She's exhausted, so she takes it out on those poor people on our show.
Yeah.
Just whipping. I'll say this on the very first episode that's airing tonight, actually.
Yeah.
She starts off with a team of 5 people, and by the end of the workout, there was only one person standing.
Yeah, but you killed one of them. You killed one of them. You took one of them out, and they just weren't. They weren't up to snuff yet. That's all.
She came in with a vengeance.
Do you feel you have something to prove, Jillian, coming back after an absence?
No, but I do feel like it is hard to leave the kids, and there is some guilt in that. So that's a challenge for me personally, and I do have a business and a company that I run with my business partner. So to come back, I do have expectations of these contestants. It's like, all right, I'm giving up a lot to be here. You're giving up a lot to be here. Let's do something magical with this. And when they don't show up necessarily ready to work or bring their A game, I get really upset about it. So you'll see how that plays out. Not well, really.
You know what's amazing? You played it pretty close to the vest through your entire life. You know, a lot of mystery surrounding you, and then all of a sudden this adoption thing happened, and you were an open book. And I'm wondering, you know, you were a lot more open than you'd ever been in your entire life. And I'm wondering how that changed you, or why it changed you.
You know, I'd love to hear you weigh in on this too. I think that part of what we do is try to give people advice so they can live healthier, happier lives. And I don't want my personal life to impact my ability to help people, because it's not an issue. It should be a matter of what you're eating for breakfast and how I can help you do that better. With that said, when you bring children into the equation, you never want your kids to feel as though you're not proud of them or the entire family. So you kind of owe it to your children to be 100% transparent about them and our lives as a family. But
and I really think that Jillian now being this open book, those were your words, she's always been an open book. There was like no real... I felt like, because I've known Jillian for such a long time, I considered her to be one of my very best friends, and she's extremely empathetic. She's honest. What you see is what you get with Jillian, and it's like she's never going to candy coat anything. She's going to tell you exactly like it is, and that's how she's always been. And I think that that's why she's such a good role model to her children, and to be able to just say that who you are, as long as you are true to the nature of you, then that's only good, and only good can come of it.
What I was really driving at is that celebrity is just so intense in this country, and this room is certainly not the National Enquirer. We've really never delved into who you are as a person, but more of what you do as a person.
I don't know that it's ever mattered, per se. And you know, it is tough, by the way, walking around with a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old and 5 photographers following you around, because now you have kids, and it's hard for the kids. So it's sort of like, it's a double-edged sword. You know, I can't hide 2 kids, but I wish that I had somehow found a way now when there's like, you know, my daughter's like saying cheese to the paparazzi. So I haven't yet figured out how to manage that.
What kind of a mother are you? I mean, we know you as being very tough, very strict. How are you with your kids?
She's so not tough or strict with her children. I mean, she's tough and strict in her business and very, very regimented, but that's where I see the real softer side of Jillian. I mean, she's obsessed with her kids. The videos of just like, you know, Lou running around with like, you know, little wigs on dancing around. I mean, this is what Jillian's showing me now. I mean, it used to be just like we were just like analyzing every fitness nutrition element out there, and now she's like, oh my God, look what Lou did. So it's like, you know, she's a pushover as a mother, but
I'm not a pushover.
I think that you're very.
They do have structure.
Oh, of course they have
They
structure.
have structure.
But she's a really sweet mother.
We work really hard to be consistent. I found that I've had really great results with both of the kids when Heidi and I are on the same page and when we're consistent with our parenting. And we do give them structure. I wouldn't say strict, but there is structure. They are kids. They have a bedtime. There are rules. And I found that it works really well for both of them, actually, when there's consistency and structure and an open dialogue, though. Even I find myself explaining to the baby why I'm putting his diaper on. It's ridiculous. I'm like, listen, I know you're really mad about this, but it has to go down this way. You're going to pee everywhere, and we can't have that. Like, it's, you know, so we'll see how it turns out.
How are you
Somebody on your
motivating
show
people?
says,
And you talk about motivating people. I'm just wondering over the seasons, what have you learned? What's the best way to get people to their goals?
I mean, I think that it's one of the old adage of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah. So it's like you got to make sure that these contestants that we work with, they've got to be willing and able to transform and to change. And when you have that, when you come with that kind of passion, then Jillian and I are going to be able to do everything and anything for you. You've got to have that initial motivation before we can do anything with them.
What have you learned? What do you do when you have a person that you can't get to drink the water? I mean, do you just give up?
They go home.
Yeah.
God bless. Hope it all works out.
You wish them love and light, you know, and it's just like hope that someday they'll be able to find something that's going to click, but we can't do it for them.
Jillian, when do you put aside stuff as far as your kids go about their eating habits?
Wait, ask me from the top. I missed the beginning of it.
How do you decide what to do with their eating habits? What age where you start to separate things as a mom and as a trainer, or is there no separation right now
with the kids and their eating?
Yeah.
No, it's a way of life. We're just bringing them up, and this is how we eat as a family. It's not to say that like we don't have treat foods every night. You know, I'm like, she eats her dinner. She's such a good kid, and you know the baby's on purees. He doesn't get a say, but Heidi's at home making these purees. Very insistent on making all the baby food herself. So she's a better woman than I. I'm like, God bless, honey. If you can handle this, be my guest. And so, you know, he has his favorite things and what have you. But with the toddler, it's just about balance. So if she doesn't like this vegetable, she likes butternut squash, then that's what she's going to get. And if she wants some cheese on it, that's what she gets. And when, you know, she's like a girl, she gets a treat after dinner, and it's things like an organic graham cracker. And it's not to say my mother doesn't come over with ice cream, because it happens all the time. But we'll pick an ice cream that doesn't have growth hormones in it, that's natural, with none of the garbage, and she has a small size portion. It's just about teaching the kids balance, that's all.
you say the new season starts tonight?
Tonight.
Any format or structural changes in the show, or is this thing just a finely tuned?
Oh, well, I mean, it is a finely tuned machine, but I will say this season, not only do we have Jillian Michaels back where she belongs, we're tackling childhood obesity. I mean, it's like we're bringing in children onto our show, and we've walked a very fine line with this subject matter. These kids are in no way a part of a competition. You're not going to see a kid on our scale. It's going to be about lifting them up. Jillian said it perfectly a few days ago. It's about lifting them up, not breaking them down, and that's what it is all about on the show, just opening up that dialogue, because childhood obesity is such a huge problem here in America, and what better show than The Biggest Loser to sensitively address it.
Jillian,
I'm afraid our
you-
time is up.